It is day 2 of going live and literally me refusing to let football practice get in the way. So, yay to all the moms out there who make life happen. But today we are focusing on you don't need a rebrand, you need a return to self. So, if you're still trying to rebrand your way into clarity, you're not unclear because your brand is outdated. You're unclear because you're trying to perform instead of reflect. So, because no matter how many color palettes you pick, Canva templates you update, or new taglines that you test, if your brand isn't grounded in who you really are, it will always feel off, scattered, and downright exhausting. So, if this is the first time you've ever met me, hi, my name is Rayland. I help women service based businesses become the authority that they know they are using my brand extraordinary method. And I am bound and determined to go live the entire month of October, minus the weekends, regardless if football practice is going to make it hard or not. Hence the reason we're doing this so late. So, in this video, I'm showing you how to shift from reinventing your identity to returning to your most powerful self without costume changes, confusion, or dare I say, cringe. So, most brilliant women that I work with, they aren't lost. They're just layered and layered with expert titles, shifting niches, shoulds, and all the things they think they need to sound like to be taken seriously. They're stuck because their brand is mimicking instead of mirroring. And if your brand doesn't whisper exclusivity before you say a word, you're not being seen for who you really are. And that disconnect right there is what's costing you champagne clients. You don't need a rebrand. What you need is refinement. Refinement that is going to help you cut through the noise and say, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is why I'm the one you need to work with. Not louder, but clearer. The brand extraordinary method isn't about becoming someone else. It's never about being a copycat. It's about becoming undeniably, fully, and unapologetically you with precision. So, today I'm going to break down the 3 Luxe Clarity moves that turn identity chaos into iconic presence. And those 3 moves that you need to make are mirroring your magic, cutting the costume changes, and signaling a premium experience. So, let's bring your brilliance into sharp, irresistible focus. If you're ready to stop tweaking your brand and start trusting it, now's the time to dive in. So, mirroring your magic. The problem that we are holding right now is that you're trying to sound like someone you admire instead of anchoring in your own voice. There are so many websites and LinkedIn pages and just mini brand moments where I honestly feel like all I have to do is change the headshot of who the person is. And I read the same website over and over and over again. And that tells me that we're not mirroring our magic, but we're mirroring others. And so, what we need to do to reframe is we need to gain that clarity that comes from mirroring what's already working and not guessing what might. When we start to narrow in on what it is that we truly offer and we start to duplicate that process, build those systems, and really go into mirroring what works for you and who you are, you're going to start to see that things get easier and people gravitate and magnetize to you more so, especially when we're talking about our brand messaging. I want you to think of it like a couture dress. You don't just grab something off the rack when you go to couture. What you do is you tailor that dress to you and what you're wearing. So it's really important that you ask your best clients what made them say yes to you. Go grab those testimonials, interview some of your past clients, and get an idea of what are the words that they use when they describe you. Those exact words in your headline, bio, or about page. That's part of your true brand tone mixed in with how do you actually talk about these things. When I work with clients and I am working within our Making Waves projects where I will do rebrands within 2 business days, one of the things I ask them for is a written sample, and I will also take our notes on how that person talks, and I will develop their brand voice to sound exactly how they are. So there is no gap between reading somebody's website and meeting them in person, because you really truly need to show up as you are, as your authentic self. And I know we throw that around like footballs at practice. But what I really mean about that is we need to sound like you. Everybody's just trying to be like oh so buttoned up all the time, trying to sound professional. And to be quite honest, like, is that working? No. People want the real, the raw, the ugly. They want the mom who showed up after football practice in her Michael Jackson t-shirt that she wears just because she doesn't care if it gets dirty. Now, if you go to my website, I look like $1,000,000 in a ball gown on a beach. But you know what? It is 7:56 my time. So it is one of those things where it's better just to show up as your real self. And that's what I mean by mirroring your magic, not someone else's. The second thing is we need to cut the costume changes. My golly, the amount of times I see people rebranding themselves, it happens like every 6 months and they're still not making money. Newsflash, it's not working. Okay. And it's because you're in this cycle of rebrands, new offers, new bios, new vibes every quarter. Like people can't keep up. There's no consistency. So why should they trust you? Consistency is the foundation of premium perception. I know exactly what I'm going to get when I walk into Chanel. I know exactly what I'm going to get when I walk into Gucci. I know I can find that belt. I know I can get those sandals. I know they raised the price on them. But nonetheless, I know exactly what to expect from start to finish because it's a premium experience. Your brand needs to create that premium experience. And it cannot happen if you're constantly changing every single time the wind blows. And if you feel like you're changing every single time the wind blows, that tells me that it's not going back to step one. It's not mirroring who you are, it's mirroring everything else we see on the internet. So you have to be able to evolve without losing your core, and your core will always be there. When I first started out, oh my goodness, I still laugh to this day on what my website looked like. The fact that I make websites for folks as part of rebrand packages, I would not have trusted me back in 2020. I'm just going to keep it real. It was so bleh. But now things have really elevated. They have gotten somewhere to a point where it's beautiful, it's glamorous. That there are certain threads that never change. The beach never went away. My colors tweaked. My colors got more sophisticated, but my messaging never tweaked. How I talk about my business, the process got better, but the true message, the true core of what I do never changed. And so we can't lose the core of who we are. So if you feel like you're rebranding all the time or you're constantly changing things or different niches happening all the time, you either A, you need to test it and really start working with more clients to get an idea of where you do sit in the market, or B, you just need to pick something. Okay. So the number one action that I can give you is commit to one vibe for 6 months, just one. Stick with one look, one brand story, one core message, and watch your authority compound because people are going to start to get to know you. And that's what creates that know, like, trust factor that we don't really talk about how to make that happen. And I was coaching a client today. And when I was coaching that client, one of the things that I was saying after they had gone through their business deep dive was, you are so scattered. You need to choose something for 100 days. And I want you to focus on only that one thing. And we had done an exercise where I made them write down, like, if you only focused on the things that move the needle in your business 2 days a week, what would you do first? And I made them commit to focusing on that for 100 days. If you can choose one thing and stick to it for 100 days, I promise you that you're going to either learn that that's not what you should be doing, or you're going to learn very quick how to double down on it. And then the last thing tonight, hello, everybody who's just joining us. This is also on YouTube if you're on TikTok, which is a lot easier to find after the fact. The last thing is signal the premium experience. So, one of the problems that we're facing a lot of times when we're not signaling that premium experience is that the energy that you are giving is luxury, but your brand presence feels like DIY. How many of you, and I know you can't like actually show me your hands, but how many of you feel like you don't trust a website when you get to it and it feels like it's very DIY, or you've seen that Canva template before? that doesn't give off that luxury feel that says, heck yes, this person's worth a lot of money and I get why. And so champagne clientele, what we have to realize is that they buy the feeling before they buy the offer. Okay. They are bought into the feeling of what it's going to be like on the other side before they buy the offer. And that comes from showing the person on the other side of who's reading your messaging that you understand their problem better than they do, that you can tap into the emotions of what they're feeling now, and you can tap into the emotions and help them see what's on the other side. Most people don't care what it's going to take. Champagne clientele understands that there is deep work that has to take place in between where they're sitting today and where they want to be. And they will put in the effort if you can make them feel like you understand their problem better than they do. But if you confuse, you will lose. And that is where messaging gets muddled. That's where luxury starts to disappear. And we have no money in the bank. Simply put, we have no money in the bank. So your brand is the glass and your offer is the champagne. It should feel like a toast before the first sip. And if you're drinking champagne alone, well, that sounds like a really bad day. So make sure that you are taking the time to create clear and consistent messaging that is mirrored in who you are and is using the way that you speak, because that is what's going to create that authenticity and signal that premium experience. So, if this has at all helped you stop spiraling in rebrand mode and start seeing the real you again, good. I'm glad. If you want to take that clarity deeper, the best thing that you can do is book a Brandmuda brand breakthrough with me. It is the first step of my brand extraordinary process. And what we'll do is we will decode exactly what's diluting your identity and map out how to magnetize champagne clientele with a brand that's crystal clear and powerfully you. We do that through a video audit. It will be my beautiful face that you will see on the screen, letting you know exactly where those moments in your brand are not matching what your goals are. So you'll first fill out a quick form. I will hop on a video and I will literally show you step by step where those gaps may be and what you need to do in order to make those changes. Because at the end of the day, I really believe that all of us deserve to live the life that we dream about. I really believe in impact. We talk about a lot on my podcast, The Luxe Sleep, and those things happen when you can be aware of the problems that exist. So, if you're building a brand that gets paid for being iconic and not busy, make sure to hit subscribe. Your legacy deserves to be visible. And like I said, I'm going live for the entire month of October. That was a huge goal of mine. We're going live on TikTok. We are going live on YouTube. And maybe we will add Instagram if I can find another place to put a camera at this desk. But uh, thanks for joining me this evening. I've got to get a little one to bed, but I can't wait to see all of you and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.